Hey everyone, welcome to the Total Health and Midlife Podcast. I am Elizabeth Sherman, your host. And today I would like to start out by telling you a story. Now, if you have been following me for any amount of time, you probably know that I don't weigh myself. I don't log or measure my food. And for the past 8 years, I have been able to manage my weight with relative ease. Now, I have a series of frameworks that I've learned to use myself, and I teach my clients so that they too can manage their health, their weight, and their hormonal symptoms naturally without supplements or anything like that. But let me tell you about how I was reminded just how easy it is to drift off track. Now, for years, I have eaten in a way that feels good. I don't follow a rigid plan, but I stay mindful. I know what fuels me, what satisfies me, and what makes me feel my best. And because I've built that awareness over time, I don't really need to track every bite of food. And I feel like I can trust myself, especially around treats and high, value foods. But lately, life has been a lot. I'm sure you feel it too. The state of the world is completely bonkers. News cycles are moving at absolute warp speed. And if you blink, it feels like you could miss something really super important. Now, I've caught myself doom scrolling, trying to stay informed, but also completely overstimulated by the sheer volume of stuff that is happening every single day. Add in work, personal responsibilities, and the general chaos of life, and suddenly I noticed something that my eating habits had shifted a little bit. Not dramatically, not in a way that anyone else would probably notice, but in small ways. Ways that if I weren't paying attention, I could have easily snowballed into something bigger. Now, it started with this amazing coconut yogurt that I found. I found this brand that is so ridiculously good, like dessert level good. And then I discovered cottage cheese ice cream. You know, that TikTok trend that was going on like a year or two ago. And I know it's high in protein, it's creamy, and I convinced myself that because it was based with low fat, no fat cottage cheese, that it was a healthy treat. So naturally, it became a nightly thing. Now, at first, it was just a little fun habit, but then it became my go to comfort. And when I finally took a step back, I realized that the weight that I have gained over the past several weeks has not been just about the food. I've been working long hours. I've been skipping breaks at my desk. I've been staring at screens way too much, letting social media completely hijack my mornings. And what looked like that healthy choice was actually stress eating in disguise. Then the moment of truth. I took a picture of myself, not for anyone else. And if you follow me, you know that I take monthly or randomly, I take pictures of myself just to make sure that what I think is happening is actually happening. And looking at the pictures, comparing it to where I was maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, it was obvious that I had gained weight. And I wasn't shocked because I already knew that my clothes were fitting a little bit differently. But also, when I looked at my habits, it made complete sense. But here's the important part to the story. I did not freak out. I didn't panic. I didn't declare that dairy was the enemy and swear off all carbs. But instead, I felt such compassion for my body. I put my hands on my chest and on my belly, and I said, "Oh my goodness, body, I am so sorry. You were just trying to do the best with what you could, given the circumstances that I was giving you. You deserve so much better." Because here's the thing, my body wasn't betraying me. It was actually responding to stress, to my habits, to the tools that I had been giving it. And I hadn't been giving it what it needed to thrive. So turning on my body and punishing it would have been cruel to my body. It would have been completely misguided. Weight gain isn't a failure. It's actually a signal. And how we respond to it is how it makes all of the difference in what we do next. So that realization got me thinking, how often do we see our body's signals as something that we need to fix instead of something that we need to listen to, something that is a warning sign? Stress eating isn't always obvious. It doesn't always look like devouring a bag of chips on the couch. Sometimes, in fact, it looks like healthy habits, but with the wrong intentions. I wasn't sitting there binging on junk food. I was eating things that were technically good for me. But the why I was eating it, like the why behind those eatings, that's where the problem was. I was using food, even healthy food, as a way to cope. I was eating to distract myself, to give myself pleasure, to soothe the constant hum of stress and overwhelm. Now, the younger version of me, she would have completely been just diligent. She would have written out a completely strict and restrictive plan, laid down some rigid rules like, here's what you're going to do next. No more dairy, no more snacking, double the workouts, fix this immediately. Here's what I've learned over the years. This version of me, I took a step back because I know this stuff. Like I teach this stuff. Habit number 7 in my framework, the 8 basic habits that healthy people do, is eat just enough, not too much. And while I wasn't stuffing myself, I was definitely eating more than my body needed. And then it hit me. The reason I wasn't following this habit, habit number 7, or habit number 8, which is limit treats, wasn't because I was failing. It was because I wasn't taking care of myself in non-food ways first. See, those habits aren't just about food. They're actually a byproduct of practicing self-care. So I noticed that when I'm well rested, when I take breaks, when I get outside for a walk, when I'm not running on fumes, when I'm connecting with what I need, I naturally eat in a way that feels good and nourishes me. So instead of overcorrecting, I reset. I stepped back and I was like, what do I need? I brought back my morning routine and I started to evaluate, why was I overstepping the boundaries that I had previously set for myself? I took real breaks during the day. I stepped away from my screen more often than not. And yes, I gave the cottage cheese ice cream a little bit of a break. Because health isn't about never going off track. It's about knowing how to get back on track as soon as possible. And yet, even as I was resetting, I couldn't stop thinking about how much pressure women are under to get everything right when it comes to our health. We've been taught that if you're going to do it, you better do all of it perfectly, or it's not worth doing at all. And because of that, it's so easy to feel like you're failing, even when you're trying your best. The other day, I have a story for you. I had a moment that perfectly sums this up. I was at Costco and I was looking for sparkling water. I ran into a woman that I know. She's a restaurant owner and she shops at Costco all the time. And so I figured she'd probably know where they moved it. But instead of pointing me in the right direction, she laid into me and gave me a full-blown lecture about how the brand I was looking for was the worst. It was unhealthy, something she would never buy. We're talking about water here. And this is why so many women feel paralyzed when it comes to their health. You try to make good choices, and somehow you're still getting it wrong. One day coffee is bad, and then the next it's a superfood. Bread is out, unless it's a certain kind of bread, right? Fat is bad, except for the ones that aren't. Even water isn't safe from scrutiny anymore. I swear, it's exhausting. And it's why so many women get stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping, constantly second guessing themselves. Because if you try to follow every single rule, you will drive yourself crazy. And you might end up eating nothing but kale and water, but not that kind of water, right? At some point, you have to take a step back and ask, does this even matter? Because here's the truth, you don't need more rules. You don't need to chase perfection. You need a framework that actually works for you, one that helps you to focus on what really moves the needle so that you can stop obsessing over the little minutia, little things, and start making choices with confidence. So, this is exactly what I'm covering and why I created the Spring Reset Workshop. It's a workshop that I created covering all of these things that I've been talking about in this episode, and it's going to be March 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Because at some point, you have to stop chasing perfection and start focusing on what you actually can do for your health and what makes sense for your life and your lifestyle. If you've ever felt like you know what to do, but you just can't seem to do it consistently, this workshop is for you. If you've ever started strong only to slip back into old habits and feel like you have to start over, this workshop is for you. If you're tired of wondering, if you're tired of doing it wrong, and you want a reset that actually works, I want you to be there. This isn't another set of rules. It's not a new diet, and it's not about guilt, restriction, or overhauling your life overnight. It's about understanding why things haven't stuck before and what to do instead. It's about creating simple, sustainable habits that fit your life so that you can stop feeling like you're constantly starting over. It's just 1 hour, and I will walk you through exactly how to reset your habits in a way that feels easy, doable, and most importantly, lasting. I'll help you get back on track without extremes, without guilt, and without feeling like you need to get everything perfect in order to see results. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you already have so much of what you need. I've covered everything from cravings to mindset shifts to stress eating. But instead of scrolling through 250 episodes trying to piece together those pieces of advice, I'm going to tell you exactly which ones will help you the most based on where you're struggling. So if you're ready for a fresh start and a new approach, join me. We go live on March 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I would love to see you there. You can sign up at elizabethsherman.com/spring reset, and that'll be in the show notes. So if you're tired of feeling like you're constantly starting over, this workshop is designed exactly for you. I want you to join me for the Spring Reset Workshop on March 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and this is going to be a small, intimate group, and I'd love for you to bring a friend, someone who, like you, wants to reset her habits without guilt, without extremes, and without the pressure to get everything perfect. And if you show up live, you will get 2 exclusive bonuses. First, I'm giving you a curated podcast quick start guide, which I am personally handpicking the episodes that will help you to see results faster so that you don't have to dig through my entire content library to figure out where to start. Second, you'll get access to a private live Q&A where you can ask me anything. There's no pre-recorded fluff, just real practical answers based on whatever question you ask me. But these bonuses are only for those who attend live. So don't wait. Go sign up right now at elizabethsherman.com/spring-reset. I cannot wait to see you there. That's all I have for you today. Have an amazing day, everyone. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.